Hello, everyone. This is Riddle Me This. My name is Emeli.
This is Anitha.
And today we're going to talk about yesterday's episode of 90 Day Fiancé. We can start with Elena and Caleb. Let's talk about Elijah, messy Elijah, stirring the pot. Yes. I'll begin with my thoughts. I'm actually confused about how I feel. At first, I thought he was messy for bringing up like let's play Never Have I Ever, and then he brought up like Caleb slept with 100+ people, but then when he was like talking about Elena, I'm fed up, biatch. You better spill the beans, and I was like, oh my gosh! So everybody gets it. At least he was trying to be fair. Like, I came for Caleb, now I'm gonna come for my friend, and I'm a dip. What were your thoughts?
You know what I didn't understand prior to that? They were talking about the night, him walking in, them having intercourse. And excuse me if I'm wrong, but I really thought that Elijah was digging Caleb, I could have sensed a little bit of tension there. So that was really interesting to do that, to sense that. And then the fact that he just put it his best friend's business out there. Like, go ahead, tell him. It was just like, do you really want that? Like, do you want Caleb or something? So for me, I was like, maybe you're trying to mess them up because you're trying to have him. So yeah, that's what I thought.
That scene made me feel so uncomfortable. Like, you don't understand how many times I had to like pause. Whew, okay, play, because I felt the same way. I'm like, are you coming? You like him? Y'all both like him? And then I didn't really like the whole giggle thing. I don't know. Different times they were both giggling, or Elena and Elijah were just giving each other eyes like it was just giving me so childish, I don't know, childish vibes.
Right. And also we can give credit to the, the videographer or the editor. He can be editing too, trying to create some tension. But I sensed some tension there. And also we went to see, we saw them discussing about their future, and Elena was gained up her courage to ask about the future stuff. And I kind of feel like Caleb was really looking for an excuse. He's trying to look for every little bit, because I'm sure in the meantime that, yeah, of course, she was not upfront with him about what had happened. But at the same time, I don't believe that Caleb was just single, didn't have any intercourse with any woman. He was just, but I feel like he's just looking for something. His ticket out. And that's what I feel like.
You said it all. First of all, during the 13 years, and I know it wasn't like a consecutive relationship, they did have on and off moments. Of course he was doing other stuff, and she, I'm sure, was in other relationships.
Right.
I'm about to say, like, you can't do that if you have a 13-year gap. Okay, you can't do that. But the other point that you said, I think he also wanted a way out, but Elena gave it to him. You can't excuse him. Like, he wouldn't have had any other way out other than to tell her the truth. And I forgot my third point, but yeah, like, I don't think he's really interested in long-term. And I'll start to your point about she gained the courage. I'm glad that she was she had a confrontational tone when it came to him saying, oh, we're not ready to talk about that yet. She was like, you know what? I'm getting sick and tired of you pushing it back. Like, I want to know. And kudos to her for doing that. And I wanted to talk about, like, at one point during his green screen, Caleb might have regretted going to Turkey to meet Elena if he had known, or what was that about?
For me, it was the same thing, BS. Just trying to find your way out, trying to blame, trying to like flip the script. Like, you did not expect this woman to be this small, and maybe you're not attracted to her like that. The attraction is not there, but you just want to be able to be like, hey, I kind of dipped my feet in the water. I didn't like it. I want out. I want to go back to the US and continue with what I was doing, and we can continue this long distance, and we can just drag along this relationship or friendship for another 13 years.
Exactly. Let's talk about Jasmine and Gino. They didn't have much other than the divorce party. And I think the only thing that was worth talking about is Jasmine apologizing to Gino finally, and like he said in the green screen, oh, it's good for it's a good change to see her apologizing this time instead of Gino always having to beg for her mercy. And he brought up good points, but I don't think he handled it quite how I wanted him to. I wanted him to really dig in deep because she flipped out over some paint. Like, come on, this is much more bigger. Gino, you better tell her, like how she was giving you all that hell.
Right, and I totally agree with what you just said. Had it been him who did that, hell would broke loose, you know. But I mean, you know, I guess yeah, he should be happy that she apologized. But as we can see, next week's episode, things are back to normal.
I'm about to say
schedule.
Back to the normal schedule. But other than that, there wasn't much eventful. It wasn't an eventful episode for those two. The next couple we can talk about is Memphis and Hamza.
I took notes for that one, honey.
I didn't. The only note I have down that was memorable again was Hamza asking Memphis, like, do you like me or do you like marriage? I think that was the most powerful line or the line between their whole relationship, I guess. The only
right. I feel like viewers also, as viewers, we have that type of question. Like, that's our question. Like, what is it you're so pressed about a piece of paper and you don't know this man's culture? You're not sure if you guys will align culturally, religion-wise. So I took notes, and I'll start off like when Memphis, they're getting ready to go to consulate, and Memphis was mothering him around. Like I remember her asking him, "Do you have underwear on?" or something like that. I was like, he is a man, regardless of how young he is 26, but still, you have to kind of have like a little bit of respect. And I don't think that she has that for him. And also when they were getting inside the taxi, I mean, not even going inside the taxi, but still when they're getting ready, and Hamza had mentioned like, hey, we're going to take a bus. And Memphis was like, what? No. I was like, wait a minute. Like, this man, this is his culture. This is his country. Like, maybe he doesn't have the means to get a taxi. Maybe that's the fastest way. You know, maybe that could have been the fastest way because they went around the town looking for the driver's license. You know, that could have been the easy way to get to the consulate. But again, it shows how ignorant she can be, or as a foreigner being ignorant in a different country, like without you really doing the research. And also Hamza mentioned, he said, I really, with the green screen, he said that she nags a lot. That's a turnoff. I can imagine to him, you know. So if she doesn't watch that, it can be too much. I feel like that can be too much for somebody who speaks English, and it's a whole lot worse for somebody who cannot even translate. You know, everything can be misconstrued. So yeah, those are the notes that I had. I was definitely disappointed once again. And then we saw when they went to the, I guess he made it up getting a good hotel, a good hotel for her, and went to drink. And he was like, hey, make sure sexy time. Whoop. I was like, can you just let it go this sexy time? Like, I want to make sure that he can perform. Like, what is this? Like, I was catching those. Maybe I was like super vigilant I was really hyper vigilant when she was talking. I was just trying to take notes. I was like, something is missing about this lady. Something is not adding up. Just something
hasn't been adding up.
Yeah, something about her wanting this sexy time, making sure that he performs, or nags a lot, bossing him around. It's just something about it. Just like, what is it? Like, what is your end goal here? Because I don't know if it's marriage at this point, but anyway, that's all I had for him.
Yeah, I missed all those, but you're right with the nagging. I felt like that was correct for Hamza, and I'm glad and I'm sure he noticed it earlier on, but like the fact that it's so consistent, like, okay, there's some up days or some low days, but damn, like,
I feel like it's not even nagging. It's at the point that she comes off as just rude. Like I remember in the car, like she was trying to take a picture or a video when they were driving, and he was being playful. You know, he would come over the camera and just make a peace sign, like that's not your child. But I guess maybe they're playing around.
She did say that actually on, if you remember the little small green screen after the car talking about, oh, you know, if we're gonna be late to this, and like she was talking about how like what is it? Like she's looking for a husband. She's looking for someone to rely on. That's what she wanted to say, I believe, or to rely on or something. And she corrected herself. And I'm like, well, then this is not who you're looking for. Like,
your old man is younger than you, and you're so pressed about him lying. Yes, he lied, but had he lied 2 years, you know, that does not make much difference in the man, really. Age, you know,
it doesn't. It doesn't make it doesn't make a difference. And I think she even slipped up and said in one of those scenes that, oh, you're like a little boy, you're immature. Like when they sat down and they were drinking, I'm like, oh, okay, let's break that down a little bit.
Yeah, very alarming. I really hope that she's able to watch herself if they're together, to watch now and be like, oh, oops, get a little bit of embarrassment, you know, and just change her ways. I hope so.
Next, we can talk about Kimberly and Usman. My favorite part of the show was the yummy talk. Oh my gosh. I had to film it to show my friends who are not even watching the show how I was in bed just like cringing at that conversation. She's also slightly not as intense as Memphis when it comes to getting that yummy, but she makes it clear. I'm like, oh, like the age difference kind of makes me uncomfortable when she talks to him like that. But I'm glad to have seen him come to Kimberly's room.
Yeah, I don't like to use this word a lot, but she was coming off strong, aggressive, pressuring him. And mind you, had it been the roles were reversed, maybe it was a guy doing that, we would all sit here like, oh my gosh, an older guy doing that, like, oh my gosh, you're so pressed to, you know, to have some minors or you know, younger, so I found their scenes to be very uncomfortable. I mean, it's just, this is a whole different level, a whole another level of desperation. Like, you're so pressed. You're so pressed to have this man on your bed, you guys having sex. Like, okay, he came over and they have a pillow in the middle. Oh, why do you have a pillow? Do we need this? You can hold me. Like, it's like, oh my God. I was like, I guess our society was so conditioned to think like men will talk like that. For me, like, I was like, oh, maybe it's a man. Like, you know, just close my eyes and just imagine a man saying that. Because like, there is no way. And I found so funny when Usman flipped the script and said, like, I know what you want. You want to just get the yummy and go. I was like, oh, the audacity. The audacity that man had. I was like, wow.
I'm telling you, that whole conversation in the bed, it was just like, oh, this feels too real.
Yeah.
For her to just like, oh, let me see. I'll be the judge of that. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, girl, he's made it so clear too many times.
Yeah.
He's putting the boundary down. Like, he's not ready, whether that's for a religious purpose, cultural purposes.
He's not attracted to you. He's not.
And that's not what, period.
Right.
He appreciates you. That's most of all. Yeah, and I kind of blame Usman for, I feel like he's low-key leading her on, but
of course. Yeah. Some fame, because had it not been her, I don't think somebody else would fall for that.
Yeah. And we can talk about Zemena and Mike. Let's talk about, we're not surprised, but Zemena finds Mike gross in her conversation with her sister. That conversation made it, like, hearing how, like, just seeing that conversation and hearing about it, it was real. It wasn't anything to exaggerate. Like, when she was talking to her sister, that's the type of conversation you would have usually with your closest family members or your friends. Like, hey, girl, even if it wasn't for a significant other, it would be of another friend or of something else. I didn't think she was being too she wasn't exaggerating things. She was just telling like her sister how she feels.
Yeah.
And I think her sister gave her good advice to how she should handle it. But what was...
I feel like it can, this is where you can see things both ways, I guess. I think, yes, I feel like what she's experiencing, like, a partner barking or a partner farting, I think that's normal. I think if you're in a long-term relationship, that's normal. That's bound to happen. But my thing is this, they just met. So they just basically, just think about initially when you met your partner, the first couple weeks or the first night you spent over. You were holding that pee. You were holding that poop. You were holding every fart, every burp. You were a lady on like level 10. Everything, you're crisscross, you're crossing your T's and dot your I's, But he came over there. He's like, I'm paying the bills, and the scene where he burped, he's like, burp. I was like, and her father was so disgusted. I don't know if the editing did that, but they were so disgusted. And the farting, I can only imagine. I can only handle my farts, but I can listen. So I can only imagine for somebody who you just met, you expect them to be on their best behavior. At least for while you're there, and then when we get engaged and move on, then we can start doing that. Like at least let's wait until the boyfriend and girlfriends who have established that title first.
And that's what exactly her sister said. And what was it? That's the thing. My excuse when I was listening to their conversation when she finally went to go tell Mike that, I kind of that idea of what he said, he's never been in a relationship in like 20 years since high school. So that came into head where I'm like, he hasn't had that experience, whether like, especially when it comes to like throwing clothes around. I don't know how many women he's been with, like in whatever sense, that he just feels comfortable throwing his clothes around.
Right. And then lastly, I want to say this. Also, when they were sitting on the couch by the fireplace and they were discussing this, and she was letting him know about what's the deal, what's the all-out deal. I can sense that she's not attracted to him. That's just that's it. Like, but again, it's hard for you to be upfront. I think culturally, you can't really. I think Americans are very straightforward, and even Americans were not even that to that point. So I feel like he's not into him, and that just annoys. Because I could see the body language. The body language, she was like, I'm not even trying. I'm like, just stretching. I'm like, just get me out of here, So, anyways.
Yeah, it was tense. She just felt like she wasn't. It didn't look like she was into it at all. But yeah, that was okay. I'm glad that they had the conversation. I think that's a good a good thing to exercise if they make it to the end. Ella and Johnny, I didn't have much noted for them, but other than their conversation, yeah, exactly. They didn't have nothing memorable.
Where are they? What's the country?
China and Ella.
Okay. Oh yeah, Ella. Yes. I made a note. I think like the first episode we talked about, like, maybe there's like some sort of fetish, with, the Asian or the Chinese man and all that stuff. I guess when they're talking about him not wanting to come here, or him, like when he was talking via Hangout, they're talking about how he doesn't feel safe coming here. American cases are rising. She said, quote unquote, she's like, oh, he's smart, hazmat suit. I was like, that kind of feeds in, like, smart, kind of feeds into like the Asian stereotypes a little bit. Like, okay, so not even, it doesn't take a smart person to see the, the cases in the US rising and not anywhere else. I was like, okay, so I guess maybe, I don't know, maybe because my brain was already there. I'm like, okay, here comes the fetish person. Their scenes are very forgettable, so I don't blame them.
Yeah. Let's talk about Ben and Mahogany. They were a little slightly more interesting. Ben is off to Peru against Mahogany's wishes.
Yeah, them.
I think he will meet someone. It's not going to be the person on those videos and pictures, but he will meet someone. That's what I'm thinking. Without getting too much into the preview yet. But
Right. I kind of the preview. I think that's why I'm kind of more relying that on to confirm that that premise. I think just my thing about them is just like, for him, just don't bring God into this. God has nothing to do with this. Like, don't bring God into this. You've been catfished before, and this girl tells you that I don't think my dad would approve. Like, that goes to tell you how young this girl is.
Why are you meeting women who need
a permission from their parents? Was it Mahogany 19? Isn't she?
She's like 24, 22.
I don't know why in my head I just had the 19 in my head.
I mean, it might be in their culture for like many cultures for them to stay with their parents.
18, you're an adult. I think in the US you can get 18. 18, you're,
I know, but I'm saying in other cultures where, you still stay with your parents till you're married, but still,
the fact that she's saying that
don't come at all, like that, she doesn't even want to introduce you to the parents. Like, they're like, just don't bother.
It's just sit down. It's just, I don't know. I don't even know. I can't even word it right. It's just wrong. It doesn't look right. Just let it go. Find somebody around your age. But my advice is just don't bring God into this. Yeah. Don't put God into this.
We're tired of that. Let's talk about expectations. The preview was really jam-packed. And will Ben meet Mahogany? We kind of talked about that a little bit.
I hope so. I hope she looks like the pictures.
Sure, yeah. We can do that. And will Ella go to China? Oh, yeah, that is my prediction. She had mentioned that she has an idea.
Yeah, I think that would be the only option is for her to go to China. I think so. Or her going to Dubai, because I think they did, because he does have a visa to Dubai. Mm-hmm. So that might be a move. That might be a move.
I don't see this going too well if he goes to China. But you know what? I think they might do China so Ella could meet the kid though.
Right, and that I can only imagine the parents. They're about to the people there. They're gonna stare at her. She's gonna feel very body conscious. Yeah, I'd rather go to Dubai. I'll take Dubai.
We also saw that Memphis is going to ask Hamza about the prenup, and another ultimatum is underway. Do you think? I think he's going to sign it. I think he's just going to be pissed.
Right. I think prenups are touchy subject. I don't think a lot of cultures recognize prenups. It's like more of like a setup for failure. So again, that goes back to her not researching this, because all these, but again, it could be editing. It's a show. It's a reality show. It's a reality TV. So not everything we see is true, because I feel like something like that you can discuss that way before you board the flight to Tunisia. So it'll be interesting to see. But as we saw the preview, he's not happy about that.
He's not, but he wasn't happy about the other things. But yeah,
I appreciate now they pull out their phone, now they can translate. So thankfully, at least
that was so nice. That was so nice. I'm like, I don't know who brought the idea to them. I'm like, y'all forgot. Come on. The next one is Usman refuses to have sex with Kimberly. He refuses.
Yeah. I saw even Kimberly. Why are we calling this lady Kimberly? Her name is Kimberly. Like the way this Usman just literally renamed her Kimberly. I think I saw her with her outfit. I think it was like a sort of like a lingerie or a nightwear, but it was lace with little hearts. So and a little champagne. She was kind of setting the mood, I guess. Hey man, protect yourself, protect your goodies, Usman.
Yummy. Okay. Gino's still communicating with the ex. I think we'll have the regular explosion, but this one will be bigger. But I do think Gino is crossing the line yet again, and I'm starting to see that maybe they're both crazy made for each other. Because with him allegedly sending nude pictures to his ex of Jasmine.
Who's alleged?
mean, allegedly, we don't know just yet because Jasmine was asking Gino if he did, because apparently she received a nude picture from one of his exes to her. Like, oh, why do you have this? These are the ones I sent to Gino.
Could be that they did that before they broken up. Maybe she saved them. But I mean, Gino is toxic. The fact that he's allowing this to happen. He's not it. He's not Panamanian. He can just board a flight and leave. You can leave. So for you to stay there and for you to entertain this back and forth, you are toxic. Yeah. In your own rights. So
yeah. This episode was awesome. It was jam-packed with lots of scenes.
Yeah, it's good. Can't wait till next week.
We'll see you guys then. And thank you for watching us on Riddle Me This. It's Emily again.
Anitha.
And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.